I never thought a single phone call could turn my world upside down. It all began on a crisp autumn morning in the typically serene neighborhood of Pine Hollow, Acresa Place, where neatly trimmed bushes and flawless lawns were as common as the daily newspaper. But that day, as I sipped my coffee and glanced out my living room window, my stomach dropped at the sight of pandemonium erupting on my front yard. There, among upturned planters and strewn chew toys, was my cherished golden retriever, Buddy, trotting off with a bewildered yet resolute expression. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. For years, I'd relied on the Pine Hollow Homeowners Association, HOA, to maintain our community's order, and at the heart of that system was Lisa Grayson. Lisa, a stern woman in her 50s, was convict and said that every rule, no matter how minor, had to be upheld with unwavering strictness. Known for her eagle-eyed oversight, she'd earned a reputation for flagging even the tiniest departures from her vision of perfection. But nothing could have braced me for what came next. I soon learned that Lisa had taken Buddy, my loyal companion, onto her own property, claiming he was a stray tarnishing the neighborhood's pristine image. Furious and devastated, I checked my security footage, which captured Lisa creeping over my fence, snatching Buddy from his favorite spot near the mailbox, and hauling him away. In that instant, my faith in the HOA crumbled. How could someone tasked with safeguarding our community sink to such depths? Driven by a blend of rage and resolve, I decided this injustice couldn't stand. A polite chat with the board wouldn't cut it. Instead, I vowed to take decisive act. I own a plan to not only retrieve Buddy, but also ensure Lisa faced consequences. I started collecting evidence and plotting my countermove. I wasn't about to let a self-proclaimed rule keeper intimidate me into submission. Lisa had overstepped, and it was time the whole neighborhood saw that no one, not even the supposed protector of Pine Hollow Acres, was above accountability. As the day progressed and news of the theft spread, I sensed a subtle uprising brewing among my neighbors. What started as a personal betrayal was quickly becoming a rallying cry for justice. The scene was set for a confrontation that would soon unravel the carefully curated harmony of our community. Pine Hollow Acres was the picture of suburban elegance. Every house reflected years of dedication: manicured lawns, tastefully arranged decorations, and driveways gleaming in the sunlight. Residents took immense pride in their neighborhood, and the HOA acted as the self-appointed keeper of these standards. Every minor violation was promptly reported and corrected. Conformity wasn't just valued, it was demanded. At the core of this rigid structure stood Lisa Grayson, a woman whose name was synonymous with enforcement. With her polished attire, impeccably styled hair, and an unshakable belief in the HOA's code, Lisa saw herself as the guardian of Pine Hollow's spotlessness. She roamed the streets, phone in hand, ready to document any hint of noncompliance. To some, she was a vital force, preserving order in an unpredictable world. To others, she was a relentless tyrant whose intolerance for imperfection bordered on obsession. My own life, by contrast, was simpler. I lived in a modest home passed down through my family, treasuring life's small joys. Nothing mattered more to me than Buddy, whose wagging tail and soulful gaze had been my steadfast comfort. My house wasn't lavish, but it overflowed with warmth, memories, and the kind of care no regulation could define. I'd always believed neighbors should lift each other up, celebrating quirks rather than punishing them. Buddy was more than a pet, was family, a living emblem of the love that filled our home. Yet in Pine Hollow, where uniformity reigned, his playful romps and occasional muddy paw prints were often viewed as petty annoyances, flaws Lisa Grayson would never abide. The neighborhood blended tradition and modernity in a tightly controlled tapestry. While some embraced progress, others clung to old ways with near-fanatical zeal. The HOA dictated everything from hedge heights to patio chair placement. Every move was watched, every misstep judged. It was in this pressure cooker of scrutiny and self-righteous guardianship that the events of that day unfolded. Lisa, convict said she was defending Pine Hollow's sanctity, had taken it upon herself to fix what she deemed an affront to order. But she didn't foresee that the rules she so fiercely upheld were about to be tested in a way she couldn't imagine. As word of Buddy's abduction spread, murmurs of discontent rippled through the neighborhood. Some recalled Lisa's past overreaches, while others were stunned that a supposed pillar of the community could stoop so low. The stage was set, and as I gathered evidence for my retaliation, It was clear Pine Hollow was teetering on the edge of upheaval, a clash that would force everyone to rethink what truly held our community together. The moment I confirmed Buddy's abduction, the situation snowballed beyond my personal grief. I pulled up my doorbell camera footage, a blurry but unmistakable record of the crime. There, in the dim morning light, was Lisa Grayson, stealthily crossing the low fence between our yards. She glanced around nervously before grabbing Buddy's leash and collar from their spot by the mailbox. The sight ignited my fury and hardened my determination. Confronting Lisa face-to-face would likely devolve into a pointless shouting match. She was infamous for her smug demeanor and history of browbeating nonconformists. Instead, I resolved to turn her beloved HOA against her, exposing her wrongdoing through the very system she revered. Over the next few hours, I collected accounts from neighbors who'd seen her antics before. Many shared tales of her relentless calls to the HOA over trivial matters, her fervor bordering on obsession. It was evident this wasn't a one-off. Lisa had long wielded her authority to force her narrow ideals on us all. I assembled my case security footage, neighbor statements, and old emails chronicling her excessive reports. I submitted it to the HOA board, demanding they investigate and act. At first, the board, made up of longtime residents keen on preserving Pine Hollow's image, hesitated. Lisa had been a fixture for years, and some were loath to challenge her. But as I presented my airtight evidence, including Buddy's theft, nods of agreement began to emerge. The situation escalated when the board called an emergency meeting. I was asked to speak, and with my footage projected for all to see, I laid out the incident. This isn't about tidiness, I argued, my voice steady with conviction. It's about accountability and respect. My dog isn't a tool in your warped quest for control. The room grew still as my words hit home. Outside, social media erupted with hashtags like the Justice for Buddy and the Lisa Unmasked as more neighbors shared their own run-ins with her overreach. What began as my fight was morphing into a community-wide stand against unchecked power. Local news caught wind, airing clips of the footage that drew both support and debate online. Lisa, unyielding, claimed she was protecting Pine Hollow and that Buddy was neglecting a hollow defense against the damning evidence. As momentum swung my way, even her staunch allies began to back away, quietly admitting she'd gone too far. The tension peaked when the HOA scheduled a public hearing. The community center overflowed with residents eager for justice. I presented my case again, detailing every frame of the footage and every supporting account. The board listened intently, and as the evidence mounted, it was clear Lisa's laundry list of complaints wasn't a fluke, it was a pattern long ignored for the sake of order. The room buzzed with unease. Some board members shifted uncomfortably, others nodded in silent accord. The community's voice grew louder, calling not just for Lisa's reckoning over Buddy's theft, but for an end to her habitual abuse of power. What started as a stolen dog had become a symbol of deeper flaw, how one person's bias could warp a system and hurt the innocent. By day's end, the hearing had turned into a crucible for truth, proving Lisa had overstepped once too often. Change was coming, and Pine Hollow would never be the same.